So to control your financial future, you need easy money saving tips for this year and beyond. You also need daily habits that are going to change your life, the way that you do things currently. I want to give you some ways to automate your daily saving and spending. It doesn't mean that you have to be a robot. You don't have to love budgeting, because the good news is that there are lots of daily opportunities to save, but you need to know how to make these opportunities a routine. There's some questions that you can ask daily to help you with this, so I'll save those for the end. If it's your first time here, I'm Bear, by the way. I enjoy learning from my mistakes. Welcome back if you're new. Feel free to like and subscribe or leave any comments. Don't forget you can always speed me up. Some people say I talk really slow, other people say I talk the perfect speed. I've learned that you can't please everyone, so just do whatever works for you. I buried some song titles in this as well if you want to play a guessing game depending on your musical knowledge. Hey, if you're wondering like why not? Who said saving isn't fun? So perhaps it's a sign of the times, but not all of us enjoy saving. We see the challenges rather than the opportunities, and we think that being frugal means being cheap. I mean, never spending anything. We think we gotta live under a rock. On Reddit there's a forum definition that actually says that frugal living is about resource allocation. It doesn't mean never spending anything. The best use of your resources might be to spend more on your priorities and higher quality the first time to avoid a false economy. But if you're trying to be frugal, these goals kind of fall apart if everything is a priority. And I get it, because I see beautiful stuff all the time where I'm like, I want to buy all of the things, like a moose. So there's a storybook about a moose. If you give a moose a muffin, and I mean, people have all kinds of interpretations of this book, but basically the idea is that the moose keeps asking, trying to make things more complicated and keep asking for more. And we don't have to be the moose. You don't always have to be like adding more things, but you need a system therefore to kind of keep things simple. So James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits, if you are trying to change your habits, which where he sort of says that the purpose of setting goals is to win the game, but goals can take a really long time to achieve, and then you just get like this little high when you achieve the goal, and then you're like, oh, well, now what do I do? So having a system in place means that you can carry on playing the game. You don't have these extreme highs and lows, and so the satisfaction isn't so temporary when you hit your goal, because you were just kind of enjoying yourself along the way anyway. I mean, this is something that kind of stuck by for a really long time, and when I actually counted up how many references I have on the blog to playing the long game, I mean, it's a lot. Playing the long game is kind of like learning a bit of delayed gratification, but also the positive side of that is actually enjoying what you're doing daily, because there are so many daily opportunities to play the long game and automate frugality without having to live under a rock. First things first, breakfast is like a really obvious scenario, right? Did you know you can buy coffee in Poundland? And then things like oats and frozen fruit, I think you'll find, are one of the most effective breakfasts. Meal planning is definitely a big opportunity if you don't do that already. I mean, if you automate the same coffee and breakfast every day, then you don't need to plan so much. Getting a meal planner for your other meals can be really helpful, but it can also be helpful if you do different things for breakfast. I was testing Joe Wick's last vegetarian cookbook for quite a while. Going back to the idea of don't be a moose, to keep things as simple as possible, I was just getting all of my, if I wanted a recipe specifically, it was okay, I only have one book that I need to go to grab a recipe. Next opportunity is in your morning entertainment. So if you're someone who immediately gets up and switches on your phone and your TV, and maybe your computer's immediately running as well. So Ewan Copeland, shout out Ewan Copeland, the YouTuber. It's actually, he was joking about trying to get your views up when you're new on YouTube, where he was playing himself on every single device in the house. For some of us, that's literally what the house looks like first thing in the morning, and the next thing you know, it's can open, wall Spain everywhere, because you're running all of this stuff. Takes up a lot of energy. It also starts zapping your mental energy. If you're not in the right headspace, you can't make the right financial decisions. I think the next opportunity is, if you're going to leave the house, go via less wheels or on foot. I think a lot of us adapted to that in 2020 because we didn't or couldn't go anywhere. But it's when your context changes, sometimes we immediately go back to an old habit, even if it's not necessarily beneficial. So it's just taking a moment to think about, is there an opportunity here to not go back to the way things were before? Next opportunity is your Hobbit 11s or second breakfast. So depending on what time you get up. Like quite a lot of us, I'll have a mid-morning snack. But again, if you meal plan in advance, you can avoid what look like opportunities, but they're not really, to be sort of impulse buying food and drink on the go or whatever. And same thing again at lunchtime. Obviously, if you have a meal plan in place, it will save you money in the long term to budget in advance and plan your meals as much as possible. It only takes like a little bit of time, like once a week, just to think ahead. You don't want to be Squirrel from Supernatural, basically. You don't want to be Dean on the road buying a burger at every turn. It's not good for the wallet. Sorry if you thought that was a squirrel reference from Up, because sometimes when I say squirrel, I am also referencing the movie Up. It's just squirrels everywhere. I learned my segues from Eddie Izzard, so I'm like, squirrels, tea towels, ciao. Your next opportunity, God, there's a lot of food, isn't there? I have a permanent IV drip of coffee, so maybe that's why I just thought there's at least 15 opportunities, and the majority of them are food and drink related. So afternoon snacks, again, you can meal plan. By the way, when it comes to like making your own snacks, I'm all for like buying some raw foods and making them tastier, like if you like toast some nuts or something. I had a go at growing some fruit and veg last summer. I didn't recommend it. Like I think you'll find it's better for certain ingredients that are very expensive to buy in the shops in the first place, but if it's kind of like more of like an everyday item and you're growing it on a really small scale, God, the amount of work and water, just the amount of energy that it took and what it actually like cost in terms of energy from me and from the environment for the teeny tiny harvest that I got at the end. I don't recommend growing your own snacks, but again, this doesn't have to be complicated. Like you don't have to grow your own snacks in order to save money. Next opportunity, when the workday is done, just pickle yourself slightly less. So don't reach for the G&T right away. I mean, as Buffy would say, I don't know how to live in the world if these are the choices. Can't say that I don't like a good gin. If there's any gin brands out there who would like to sponsor me, obviously this is not sponsored, otherwise I wouldn't be growing my own food. Don't know how to live in this world if these are the choices. Would it be sacrilege to suggest that you have a tonic without the gin? We'll move on swiftly. The next opportunity is your evening entertainment. So you could DIY that. Stop sniggering in the back row. For most of us these days, that means, catching up with friends online or your significant other. If you're feeling a bit light on friends at the moment, there's this whole world online. Come and hang out on the YouTube channel. It's okay. It has gotten a lot harder to socialise. Like if the gym's closed and your social life kind of revolves around the gym and stuff like that. I think there are always alternatives though if you treat everything as an opportunity. This is why there are so many pop culture references when I record, because I just think that everything's an opportunity for a pop culture reference as well as an opportunity to save money. Next opportunity is dinner, which, surely we don't need, because we had breakfast, we had Hobbit 11s, we had lunch, we had afternoon 11s, which are, what are those? Fourses? Five? We had an afternoon snack. We didn't go anywhere because we have to work from home. We could probably just all stop eating dinner. No, it's fine. I mean, again, shockingly, I'm going to suggest that a meal plan, maybe working from the same recipe book to keep things simple. If you're learning how to improvise, Amazon Fresh are delivering for free in certain postcodes now if you already pay for Amazon Prime. So look into like what you already have available to you. Next opportunity, basic hygiene. You should probably wash daily. Apparently that's a good idea. You can try army showers. Army showers is like where you they're better in the summer. You get wet, you turn the shower off, you wash, and then you turn the shower on again just to rinse. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Well, I mean, people in the army do it. Or you can usually get like things like free shower timers from your water company. I think shower timer, I definitely recommend it if you are a daydreamer, to avoid writing your own version of War and Peace in the shower. You could always listen to that for free afterwards. There's lots of ways to listen or read for free. I also think books are a really good way to invest in yourself. If you haven't picked up like a non-fiction book for a while, there's lots of books out there that could help you kind of level up if you are trying to change your habits in the long term. Your next opportunity is the evening wind down. It's like a rind down, only better. I don't know what a rind down is. I think box sets are a really good investment. Like if you can rewatch something again, I think that's pretty good value for money. And there are certain like TV shows and movies that are fairly timeless. Pippin would agree. The next opportunity is going to sleep. Although for a lot of us, well, you could put my voice on. Apparently that might help. You can't make good financial decisions without proper sleep. A couple of things that I find useful. One is gratitude. So I have like a journaling practice where I write down like what I'm thankful for. Also, I've got a space there for bedtime worries where I can write down what it is that I'm thinking about that's keeping me awake. And sometimes just writing it down is all I need to be like, okay, well, I've got that out of the system now. I highly recommend it. So how much could you save, do you think, if you took advantage of all these daily opportunities? I think the final question is, how are you investing in yourself? So that maybe you don't need a checklist anymore. You don't need to be reminded of what the daily opportunities are. Perhaps you'll be the person saying to someone else, have you thought about doing this? None of this is to be like, oh yeah, I'm perfect, I've cracked the code. Everything's a work in progress all the time. But always lots of opportunities. And you can also start investing in yourself for free with things like podcasts and YouTube videos as well. There's so many tutorials out there. There's so much out there if you want to learn how to do something. Obviously, I do say, like, mind the word free. If we expect everything to be free forever, you undervalue yourself in the long term. So some things are worth paying for. But if free is what you need right now, then take advantage of it. Remember, you want to be frugal, not cheap. So allocate your resources. If it means spending a bit more upfront on something that's higher quality, not everything that's more expensive is automatically higher quality, but sometimes we do kind of get into a false economy when we expect everything to be free all the time, and you're not free and you have a value. So, put a price on it. And I'm going to end there very suddenly because I'm wild and unpredictable that way. Go forth. I said go forth. Okay, well, see as you're still here. I haven't mentioned this for quite a long time. There is actually a mailing list you can subscribe to via the blog as well. If you go to savelikeabear.co.uk, you can stay updated with everything via that. And I hope you save some money in the next year. Go forth.